Welcome Dr. Sreenivasan to the World E-University. My dear friends who are attending the program, I want to introduce my friend Dr. Sreenivasan. Dr. Sreenivasan is an individual who had started his career as executive trainee in the then National Lignite Development Corporation. From there, he was transferred to Power Grid by an act of parliament, and then he was handling the toughest job any HR professor could face in India those days, and that is dealing with the trade unions. From there, he grew, and then he was picked up by Airports Authority of India Limited to start the HR from scratch. He spent 3.5 years there, and he did wonderful job. So much so that Power Grid refused his amalgamation in that, Airports Authority of India Limited. So he had to come back. Dr. Sreenivasan obtained his PhD from Central University established by an act of parliament, and his thesis had been published by Nova Science Publishers, New York, and the title is The Contemporary Conviviality of Trade Unionism, because the book was very epoch-making, and at the same time it was creating a sort of problem. So the US government did not allow the hard copies to be sold in the market, but they allowed it to remain in the archive of the publisher, so that those who want to have digital version, government of the USA may get the information. From Power Grid, he moved to establish again HR from scratch in India Renewable Energy Development Authority, where he is a C-suite executive, and he is sharing the problems of the company and sorting them out at the same time as a direct report to the CEO of Indian Renewable Energy Development Authority. In addition to his book, he has published 21 research papers in national and international journals. So friends, if you think that you are from Hult International Business School of US or Exeter University of UK or Assumption University Bangkok, or so many universities in India as well, that those who are practitioners, they cannot behave like academicians, and those who are academicians cannot go back to corporate and manage. Here is a personality who does both as an MB dexterous. Dr. Sreenivasan is here right now. Now I hand it over to him so that I should not waste his precious time and your precious time as well. Dr. Sreenivasan, the platform is all yours.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. In fact, friends, good afternoon, and I have to thank Dr. and Professor Krishna Pandey for choosing this topic, Andon for Industry 5.1 and beyond. Because he has thought about the necessity of this topic when a country wanted to be self-reliant, and when you are venturing for US dollar 5 trillion economy, then necessarily you have to enter into Industry 5.4. So he has chosen the right way. In a way, the second factor is also there, where I have to thank him, because when we are talking about this HR, immediately people will be telling that strategic HR, you have to enter into strategic HR, you need to get into the business of the HR, perspective of HR, what should be the HR tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Now he has come with a topic where he is telling industry of tomorrow is HR only. So there is, you cannot differentiate HR from the industry. So thank you, Professor Krishna Pandey. In fact, I have to tell you, this time when we were venturing for campus interview at XLRI. I got a call from the XLRI when we were to get into the campus interview. Sir, all the people have been selected. I said, this is the first day, how it is possible? So then they were telling, sir, it is not the big industries which came, all startups came, and all startups took all our boys. So everybody is selected now, so there is no room for anybody. So then I asked, what is the package they have given? So they were telling 30 lakhs for this XLRI products, and that too by the startups. So you can understand the importance given to the HR by the industries. So when we have to talk about this industry 5.0, when we need to understand the ABCD of industry, and then it is easy for us to know about this industry 5.0. So you know industry what? If you ask you to define industry, some of the HR professionals will immediately think about this famous Supreme Court judgment of Justice V.R. Krishna here, where he talked about systematic activity and a 3-page definition of the industry. No, I'm not going to talk about it. So that judgment he gave in the Bangalore Water Supply Sewage Board versus Rajapal. So that I am not talking about. But industry, generally we will understand it is going to generate employment, number one. Number two, the raw material, whatever form, when it is entering into the industry, it is becoming a finished product. So industry is doing these two things. Okay. So what about this industry 5.0? Yes, we will come back to that also. When we talk about industrial revolution, we need to talk about from the beginning. The first two industrial revolutions, 1.0 and 2.0, happened before our independence, 1947. So all of you know that industry in the beginning was in the form of wood and stone. So industry 1.0, metal came into the industry. Then industry 2.0, it is steam energy was introduced in the industry. So then came 3.0 and 4.0, where other things happened, like use of electricity happened in 3.0 and 4.0. You know that IT entered into that industry. So industrial revolution happened because of information technology entered into the industry. So when we were seeing this 5.0, we are seeing this ABCD, artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, distributed ledger technology. Not all of this, I will talk about these items mentioned below in the same PowerPoint afterwards. Artificial intelligence, you all know, it is a simulation of human brain with the machine. But it is not only that. We need to talk about the subset of artificial intelligence also, that is machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning, all of you know that it is, you are making the machine to think like a human being. But deep learning, it is something more about it. So I can give an example of driverless car. So here, the car is made to think like a human being. Even if it is seeing a stop board or any intrusion or any pedestrian, it stops. So there, the deep learning is more important. But again, when I come back to the work culture, I will talk about this. But still, I am telling, artificial intelligence cannot exist without human involvement. Okay, then blockchain. What is blockchain? It is shared data. Often our Prime Minister is talking about this blockchain also. So this blockchain shared data it cannot be hacked or it cannot be changed. So mainly we are using this in the net banking and other things. Cloud computing, no more servers in the industry now. So now we are going for the cloud computing, saving the space and reliability, sustainability, distributed ledger technology. Here, the same data can be analyzed and evaluated by other people also at the same time. Why I said the bottom of the PowerPoint we will see afterward, because Industry 5.0, it is not only the technology point of view, it is also development focused and the people centric. Why I am telling this? Nowadays we need to talk about this environment, people. It is not only the productivity and quality, but it is also about this people who are involved in this. So now we will go to the, is it necessary to enter into the 5.0? Because when we are talking about bullet train, people are talking whether it is necessary for us to get into the bullet train when somebody is starving, and when somebody is not getting employment, whether it is necessary to go get into the bullet train. When we are talking about Bharatmala connecting all the roads, all the cities with the roads, is it necessary to invest money in infrastructure? When you are thinking about exponential growth, economic growth of the country, you need to think about everything. It is not standalone. I think somebody can sit on what. Is it okay? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we cannot talk about economic growth or exponential growth standalone. We need to talk about everything. Then only it is possible. So when we were talking about self-reliant or Atmanirbhar, you need to increase manufacturing base in India or in any country. Otherwise, it is not possible to become self-reliant. So we also need to think about pollution-less industries, because we have promised to reduce this carbon emission by 33% by 2030 and 100% by 2070. How it is possible for a developing country? It is possible, but we need to struggle more and do many things. Then it is possible. So climate change is coming out of that only. So we need to see the green environment to avoid this, or to avoid the worst part of the climate change. Because it is going to happen, we cannot avoid, but we can prevent ourselves. And 5.0, when I am talking about, I told you about artificial intelligence. So it is possible for us to increase the productivity, economic and commercial consequences we can face, and it will also provide a safe world. Why safe world? Because we can avoid these accidents to the human beings, which is very precious than anything else. So when I talked about Andon, all of you know it is a Japanese word, and it is applicable in this manufacturing industry. When something goes wrong, you are pulling this Andon card. So similarly, we need to pull this 5.0 for our developments. At this juncture, what we need scale, speed, and skill also. When we were talking about this working culture, we also need to understand our country and culture also. just I will tell a story. Professor Vijay was lecturing in his class, and suddenly he raised a question to the students. Students, please tell, I have a roti and we have to eat. How it will be tasting more when we eat this? Each student suggested a different options. One student was telling, if you take this roti with honey, it will be more sweet. And one fellow was telling, if you take this with milk and sugar, it will be more tasty. And one fellow was telling, we can take it with banana so that it will be more tasty. So like that, on and on, people are telling something. And one student raised and he said, sir, if you take this roti with all our friends, then it will be more tasty. Friends, this is the culture of our India, and needless to say, that student was praised by Professor Vijay. Because all along we were working together and we saw our strength in integrity. So we were together and we were working together. This work culture was also like that from the beginning. Whether it is you take this industry 1.0 or 2.0 or 3.0, we were working together. When it started going apart from 4.0, but still it is happening in the other industries where much robo or much machineries are not introduced. Why it is so? Why people are working together? Because of circumstances. When the employer is exploiting workmen, they need some strength, some support, and they are afraid of facing the employer all alone. So they wanted to get somebody's help. They wanted to shoot the employer on sitting somebody's shoulder. Who is that? It is union. So trade union is coming into the picture. And initially, you know, I told about 1.1, 2.0, which happened before independence. So before independence, all of you know, people were exploited like anything by the Britishers. So that point of time, it was necessary for the union to come in, pitch in, and they did. Then simultaneously, they also went for the freedom struggle. So we got our own freedom struggle. We got our freedom. But still, this is continuing. Why? The exploitation has not been stopped. Maybe in a small scale, somewhere it is happening. So unless it is stopped, people definitely need some support. So union was in picture. And one more thing is also happening. What is it? As all of you know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, after the completion and the fulfillment of basic needs, they need something else also. So this was fulfilled by this position in union. So they were taking some position in union and they were getting some respect from the management. So this was helping them to reach that hierarchy of need, and they continued in a position, different positions. And in one way or other, even these union leaders were not really supporting the workmen. Somewhere they were trying to fix the workmen also. I have seen in many industries where, because now we are taking the payment, whether it is monthly salary or whether it is bonus or any form or anything through this NEFT or bank. So there is no question of cash in the envelope. But 15 years back, it was cash in the envelope whenever they are being paid, whether it is monthly salary or whether it is a bonus or ex gratia or anything. So I have seen the union leader will come and collect some cash from them after the payments. Is it not exhaustion? Is it not exploitation? So these union leaders were also losing their shine because of their own bad practices. But I will not say every leader is like that. We have seen very, very good and able leaders in the industry, that to a big industry like Airport Authority, or whether it is Power Grid Corporation or Naval Grid Corporation, where I work. So there is a system also, and management is talking to the union in a systematic way. So this helps them to understand about the industry, and they pass on the information to the workmen. So they feel that they are part of the management. So things are going on like that. And many industries, they entered into long-term settlements without any chaotic situation or problems or issues. So ultimately, I will not say that entire union leadership is problematic, but some leaders spoil the purpose of the industry, union. This happens, yes. So slowly it was going out, but still people are having this working together. And one more thing, if you see, when anybody who is coming to the work are spending more than 12 hours in the industry, and they spend less time in the house. So what is happening? Their problem at house, they are discussing with their co-worker, and sometimes they get a solution, sometimes they get a consolence from the co-worker. So they need to share their problem. This is also a cultural style in our country, where we share our problem with our close friends. So industry, it is possible some close friends are there, so we are sharing our problems. So that also happens in industry. So this close net of working at industry helps the workers, and if you see really, they are spending less than 2 to 3 hours in the house, because after reaching house, they are taking food and they are sleeping. So sleeping portion, if it goes, and the morning they are getting up, taking bath, and preparing themselves for the industry. That means this space is very less than 3 hours. And industry, they are spending more than 12 hours. So definitely they are having an attachment to the industry. In fact, I have seen in many of the big industries and the township, when these workers are superannuated, then only they will think about where to settle down. Of giving 4 months or 6 months, depending on the industry, the continuation of the township house for the workman. So only on the verge of retirement, they will start thinking about what to do, where to settle. So they need to look for a house, and it is a problematic thing. So all these things will be coming out at the verge of the. So this is a practice going on till Industry 4.0. Afterwards, what has happened? Not a major shift, but yes, instead of long-term settlement with a larger workforce, it became an individual terms and conditions. So employers started signing an individual terms and condition, mainly with the IT personnel. Even in other places also, slowly it started percolating, and unions started disintegrating. So people were slowly forgetting about this union. At the same time, we also would have seen some of the industries saw a disastrous effect of the union, killing the general manager, killing the HR personnel in Maruti, and killing the CEO in Noida, and one more person at Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Like that, again, some bad image came over the union. That was the time robo and artificial intelligence started entering into the industries. Even then, it was not 5.0, it is 4.0 with robots entering. So during my China visit, I was going through the industries in Shanghai, and I was asking them, friends, you are having so much place. There is no depth of space in the China, and you are having human resource to the maximum, because world population, you can see China population is more. So there is no depth of population. So there is no depth of human resources, space. So why you are getting into these factories with more of robots and all tall buildings, sky high buildings. So when I asked this, they were telling, no, it's not the question of human resource availability and space. We wanted to show the world that we can also do this type of thing, high-rise building. We can also use robo in our industry. Friends, that is the point we have to take. Because it is not the question of is it necessary or not, but we need to showcase our strength to the world also, which we are doing during this Republic Day by showcasing our defense preparation. Friends, I also need to talk about the story repeatedly we were hearing from our childhood, that the story of 4 bulls and 1 lion. So we have been told that the bulls, when it is alone, lion is attacking. When it is together, lion will not attack. So similarly, in another story, the father used to tell the log of wood, if it is separate, it is easy to break. But if it is tied together, it is difficult to break. Friends, this is the point which we saw during our early period, and we were continuing with the continuation of this togetherness. Of course, our culture is also talking about Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So we were together, and we were spending time together. We were sharing things together. But what is happening now? The joint family system is going out. It is withering out. People, they don't think the necessity for the others. places I'm seeing, even when the guest comes, they're not being given importance in the houses because people are interested in watching WhatsApp or something. They don't give importance to the people visiting. So this new generation is emerging out. So this, let me keep it separately now. Then again I will talk about this afterwards. So we need to have the 5.0 I told. Am I audible, Joseph? Joseph, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. So this 5.0, we told that it is necessary, we cannot avoid it. And we need to revisit many practices because most of the things what we were doing in the past may not be relevant. Because even you can see this COVID, though it was a bad patch or black spot in our career of this 2 years we lost because of this pandemic scenario. But if you see, even this has taught us something which we learned also during this bad period also. What is it? We used to keep the things clean. We used to keep ourselves hygienic, clean, which we were not giving much importance earlier. The people who are visiting this Malaysia and Singapore, they were telling that if you put anything out without the dustbin, you will be charged. So we have to be very careful. But when they visit, come back to the Indian airport, they will do all those things, nonsense. The same thing about this health, hygiene, cleanliness, they were not bothered. But during these 2 years, I saw at many places, they were keeping themselves clean. And they were also ensuring the neighbors are clean. Not only that, work from home, it was new to the public sector and many of the government offices. But during this pandemic, what happened? All the government offices, all the PSUs started working on e-office. And there was no necessity for going to the office during this period. Work was going on even from the houses. So we learned during this period. But at the same time, I also talk about the other part of the thing. Because, okay, work is going on. What is happening? It is affecting the psychological and the social well-being of the HR also. And somewhere we were seeing these memes like wife is asking the CEO that when this fellow will be called, I don't want him to be here. And even this husband is facing problem because he was to do all the domestic chores because no domestic servant maid is there. So both the sides problems they were facing. So emotional problems were there. Many divorces happened during this period because of this work nature. So when we were talking about 5.0, are we not going to face this problem? Yes, we are going to face it. So what we have to do, of course, whatever we were doing so far, we need to revisit our practices. Say, for example, as I told you during this pandemic period, instead of paying this conveyance allowance, we started paying this net allowance. And in fact, it was helping the employer also. He was not coming to the office space, so you need not provide office space for the workman. Work is getting done from the houses. So, in fact, Instead of 12 hours, he was working for more than 14 hours from the house. So it was helping them. Some of the people are not ready to switch over to the normal working now also, because they were seeing the benefit of the work from home. But coming back to this 5.0, yes, we need to revisit many practices and for its relevance. And we need to reskill and upskill the HR. As I told you, it is not going to reduce the employment. No unemployment is going to happen. I will tell you many examples also now. In European Commission, European Union, they were having a general data protection regulation. It was completely through artificial intelligence, and people were seeing that lot of people will be unemployed. But contrary to that, what has happened? They introduced right for explanation to the customers on the rate offered in mortgage, credit card, etc. So what happened? They have to introduce 75,000 jobs for doing this. So this is, I am talking from the other country, European Union. You also see when IRCTC started facilitating the reservation from your desktop or laptop, people are telling that a lot of people are going to be unemployed. No, it does not happen. And in fact, the famous LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization of Narasimha Rao during this 1991, the electricity boards were bundled and they became DISCOM and separate entity. So a lot of agitation came, union were protesting, but now it is happening. And people who have done earlier, they were reaping the benefits, and who have not done earlier, they were not reaping the benefits, they are facing the problem. So some of the things have to come at some point of time, which is necessary. What we have to do, we have to reskill our people and upskill our HR. Because the same skill we cannot continue. We have also seen the typewriter went away, then it became computer. From computer, we went to the other better machines, where we are also seeing this spelling mistake, grammar mistake, everything. While we are typing, we are also seeing that. Similarly, we are also seeing this. Say when initially people used to see drama, maybe around 1960 or something. Afterwards, people started going to these movies in cinema houses. Then came this video, people started seeing from their houses. Then TV channels came, they started viewing, but still people are going to the theater. Now OTT has come, and you can see all the movies from your house. Still people are going to the cinema houses. Why? You need to make some changes. Without change, it is not possible. They have started making a movie like RRR or Doctor Strange, where you need to see with 3D lenses. So definitely you have to change yourself. Otherwise, it is not possible to stand in the market. Then, if you see that Ooty, the photos, Hindu photos, if they have changed themselves, now also they would have, because at that point of time there was a great industry. even the IT was a great industry. What they are doing now, if they are not changing, it is not going to help them. So reskilling and upskilling of HR, as I told you, artificial intelligence cannot work alone, but it needs the support of HR. So you need to reskill and upskill. And with this, it is not enough. Your performance evaluation also you need to change, because the present performance evaluation will not continue with these changes in the industry. It is going to be transparent. It is going, the governance will be there. So people also will be happy. And what will happen to the emotional, psychological, social well-being? Which I told you that we are always together, we are spending time together, we want others' support, we wanted to be in the company of somebody. So this has to be taken care. In fact, World Health Organization has come out with a research finding that 1 trillion economy is being wasted in this productivity because of this anxiety and depression developed in the people. This is 1 trillion economy. Yes, I am right. So they are also thinking about the well-being of the human beings, not only the your surroundings and environment, but also well-being of the workforce. This is more important. So we need to introduce the programs like neuro-linguistic program and other trainings, which is relevant to support the emotional, psychological, and social well-being of the HR. And also we need to introduce policies which is helping them to come out of the anxiety and the distress, if any, caused by the introduction of this artificial intelligence and the robots in the industry. And we also need to have a clear communication. People should know what they have to face, what they have to get, when they will get it, why they will get it. If it is not so, it is creating confusion. So they need to know what they are going to get it. And third point is right technology and collaborative approach. Because we wanted to help the human being in the industry, so it should be collaborative. So nowadays there is a word called cobots, because collaborative robots. It should be a right technology also. It's not like just to introduce artificial intelligence, I will introduce. No, it should help our country also. Is it possible to avoid this? Of course, we have talked about this some time back also. It is not possible to avoid, because change is permanent. And it is not reversible, it is irreversible. If you entered that, you cannot come back. You see, 1991 LPG, that is liberalization, privatization, globalization introduced by one government of different party. Even now it is continuing, because this is irreversible. You want some development, so you need to change. Without change, you cannot get this development. So is it possible to get into this? Yes, change is already happening. Because many of the industries started introducing artificial intelligence and robots, and it is introduced in such a way where the human resource was facing problem. For example, I have seen in one of the cement industry, one person will be standing by the side of burner for 8 hours. If the reliever is not coming, he has to continue for 15 hours. because that was a 24 hours work going on. Burner, you know what is the temperature. So he has to be there at the head of it. But now what is happening? Because of this introduction of this AI and robo in the industry, you can avoid a person, human, standing by the side of burner. I'm telling, for example, it can be anything. Even the manual scavenging, I saw yesterday in one of the village, and he is promoting a student who is coming out with some robot. It is going to clean the scavenging. It is going to do the scavenge instead of manual scavenging, and it is going to give relief to all the manual workforces. So it is going to happen. You have to introduce this technology wherever it is required, wherever it is going to help the individual. Even you can think about this border where our people are facing problem because of extreme temperature, whether it is a desert or whether it is a Kargil type of thing. Extreme temperature, people are facing problem. But we need to deploy our forces. So can we avoid? We can think about it. But change is happening, I told, because already people are not depending on the union. People started signing these individual terms and agreements, and many of the industries it is happening. So coming back to the Gen Y, expectations of Gen Y is completely different from what we were facing. So they want a comfortable work atmosphere where they don't want to soil themselves, and they want good pay and good environment, good industry. So the expectation is changing. So this is going to help them in a big way. And they are ready to upskill themselves for the benefit of pay and other privileges. Digital payments. Digital payments has reduced corruption to a larger extent. When Indian Prime Minister was talking about digital payments in the Parliament in 2014, the then Finance Minister P. Chidambaram from opposition was laughing, and he told it is not possible in the country like India. But now we are seeing UPI, Google Pay, and Paytm not only in city. I went to many villages in the Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, where even in the petty shop they have put this Paytm logo, so you can make the payment directly. So it is happening now. Initially people are opposing it, but now even this fellow who is pulling the cart, selling the vegetable, he is having this Paytm. So it is possible. The digital payment is happening. It has reduced corruption. And still bank, we are seeing many people are still working. So it has not reduced the employment. Youpreneurs. Many people have started coming out with their own startups, and the people are becoming entrepreneurs on their own. They don't depend on the others. So this Industry 5.0 is going to help in a big way for these startups. Again, as I told you, startups, they are thinking about HR from the beginning. They have started recruiting people from the XLRI type of institute to take care of their human resources. So startups are there, and contract employment is also coming out in a big way. Earlier, stigma was attached to the corporate contract employment. Now it is not so. People are forthcoming for this contract employment. And it is not that employer is also paying good pay, good perquisites to those people also at par with the regular employees. So it is no more a stigma attached to the contract employment, and people are ready to work for 2-3 years in the industry just to get the experience or taste of it. So it is happening. We are also having this corporate nomad, and people are not working at one place. They are also ready to work, because when there is a work from home, why I have to waste my other time? I'm ready to do the other job also. So those people are also there. So things are changing, scenario is changing, expectation is changing, and definitely new jobs are coming up. When we introduce this FASTag, people are telling that it will reduce the jobs and other things. Were we not seeing that the same toll gate, people were bruised and people were killed by some notorious people who were not interested in making the payment for the toll. So you should not see the one aspect. Perhaps FASTag, if it is introduced in a big way, some 4 people will be losing jobs, but you have to see the benefit at the holistic way. Perhaps you will be seeing some other job coming in some other place. So new jobs are going to definitely will come up, and it is not going to affect the employment in any way. And work culture, as I told you, it is changing day by day. So people are not depending on this thing. But the employer is now thinking about this well-being and the health of the employees. So it is not going to affect now. Instead of union, now the employer is going to pitch in for the benefit of the human resources. So this way, it is going to help only, and it is not going to affect us in any way. Jitendra, am I audible? Jitendra, are you on mute?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So now we are coming to the conclusion of this work culture. What we have to do is we have to prepare our workforce for facing this 5.0, and we need to be proactive. As a HR, we have to develop the neuro-linguistic programs, which says brain is having 2 modes. One portion is focused for attention, another is a creative. We need to unblock this for the benefit of not only individual, also for the company. And by this, it is possible. So we have to develop our individuals, and we have to enter into the 5.0, which is going to help us in a big way for the exponential growth of country, community, and then family. Thank you very much. If you are raising any question, I am ready to answer.
Dr. Purnaya Sreenivasan,
Yes, sir. Yes, boss.
it is one of the lectures where I got mesmerized.
Thank you.
The points that you made are still very enchanting to me. And some of the participants were writing the comment to me, where did you get him from? So I don't know whether I should talk that I got you from Indian Renewable Energy Development Authority or from another planet. But your ideas regarding corporate nomads and HR for handling the catastrophe, especially due to the pandemic of COVID, and your thought on radical change in performance evaluation and performance management. Last but not least, rather more important, is clear communication for collaboration. these were the points that I have noted, and I assure you that participants from US, UK, Thailand, India, they may use it in their own sphere, but in World University also, I will try to take a cue out of all these points and improve the performance of my own university. A huge thank you on behalf of the participants from the entire World University fraternity, and on my personal behalf that you took time out, especially when you rarely get a holiday, and today is a gusted holiday across the country. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
Okay.
I am out for now.
Thank you.